Now, I know I said, end of last week, that I was going to concentrate on cars this week and not get obsessed with politics. But here's the problem. There's now been a parliamentary statement on digital ID. Now, you remember, right, when they announced that they were going to bring in digital ID, it was for one reason and one reason only. And that was to stop illegal immigrants coming across in boats because they wouldn't be able to work illegally. And this would stop the boats and this would stop all the problems. And this was the reason that we needed digital ID. For this reason. That's why we needed it. They said it on the news time and time again. They said it in Parliament. If we have a digital ID, it'll stop the boats. That's why we're doing it. And people like me went, no, it's not. It never has been. It never will be. That's not the reason you're doing it. You're doing it for control. You are going to introduce a Chinese credit system. And it won't just be about illegal working. It'll be about every aspect of your life. No. If you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to worry about, blah. And so it went on and on and on and on. No, it's just, if you want to work here, you need to do it legally, etc., Jav zone. And that was it. We were wrong, they were right. Except the one thing you can guarantee these days is they'll say one thing and they will do another. Normally they wait a bit. But no, the global powers that be want this sorted and want it sorted now, and they don't care what people think. So let's crack on with it. So this, excuse me, this is a statement issued in Parliament. As you can see, it's in the House of Commons, in the debating chamber. And this is what the Labour representative, I don't know her name. I know she's a shit actor. More of that in a minute. But this is what she said in her statement to the House on digital ID. I'm going to dissect it, not dissect it, dissect it. Easy for me to say. Line by line for you. And give my commentary accordingly. Because this is quite possibly the most obvious declaration of what they're going to do that they've done so far. So, without further ado, let's see what she's got to say. I will interject accordingly.
I have always believed in giving people power and control over their lives.
Power and control. Hang on, this was about illegal immigrants. Not about power and control. Where's power and control came from? What, control? I wonder how many more times you're going to say control. That's one.
Control over the public services they use.
Eh? Public services? I thought this was about stopping the boats. Now it's about public services. How did that come about, I wonder? Not only that, second use of the word control.
How they access childcare, benefits and housing support.
Childcare? What the fuck's it got to do with childcare? There aren't any coming over on the boats, so there's no need. They don't need a place in a nursery when they get here because they're all fighting age men. They haven't brought their kids with them. Oh, I think you'll find they haven't. If you get one boat a year that's got kids on it and it's all over the news, the rest of the boats aren't. But that's not the point. This is about stopping the boats. Not about controlling how you access childcare for your child. Or what were the other things?
Yeah, benefits and housing support.
Benefits and housing support now. So not only are they coming after your kids, they're coming after your child benefit. They're going to put that on the app as well, on the ID. And all benefits, not just child benefits, all benefits. Which is weird for a digital ID that was brought in to stop illegal working. Why would it suddenly include all these things? In the words of Frank Carson, and there's more.
Control over their data and who sees it.
Data? Data? What's my data got to do with Dingy Doug? What did I call him? Dingy Dave. Well, anyway, isn't it? Dingy doesn't matter, does it? What's my data got to do with illegal immigrants? Why am I having to have my data controlled because you can't stop boats. That makes no sense. Go on, Frank.
And control over the choices they make to rent or buy a home, apply for a job, open a bank account, and much more besides.
Whoa, 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 whoa. There we go. Now we've got to the crux of it. This one needs splitting down a bit further. I'll just go back. Hang on.
And control over the choices they make to rent or buy a home.
Rent or buy a home? You need digital ID now to rent or buy a home? What? Where did that come from? That wasn't mentioned when they floated the idea, was it? What else was there?
Apply for a job, open.
Apply for a job? Oh, yeah, that was the reason, wasn't it? Yeah, that they put that in because that was the reason they did for it in the first place. More on that in a minute.
Open a bank account.
Open a bank account? Oh, so it's going to be... No, it'll only be just so that you use your digital ID to show the bank that you are who you say you are, so you can open a bank account. That won't link that bank account to that digital ID. No, that won't happen. No, that's a completely separate thing. It's not like they're going to keep your data so they know what bank accounts you've got because you use your digital ID to open them. No, that won't happen. True story. I once got arrested, but never charged. First time I'd ever been arrested in my life. And wasn't charged, released next day. Anyway, next time I got arrested, was charged. This is a story for another day. However, I wasn't required to produce my fingerprints, my mugshot, and my DNA because they already had them on record, despite the fact that the law says that if you are arrested and not charged, those records must be destroyed instantly and not kept on record and not kept on file because that's a breach of your human rights. But they did it. They do it. It happens all the time. So them saying that one thing doesn't stay on file and isn't connected to another is utter bollocks. I've just proved it. Anyway, that was a tangent. Back on with it.
In the age of the smartphone, we can take this control quite literally into our own hands.
The most telling statement so far. In the age of the smartphone, we can take that control quite literally into our own hands. What she's inferring there is that we can take control. What she actually means is that they take control. There's a lot of control in this. I think that's the 6th time she's mentioned the word control now. But apparently it's us that will be in control. British Gas, don't you just love being in control? Flame comes out the top. What happened? British Gas are now bloody expensive. We're not in control. British Gas are in control. Yet another example of how it's all bollocks.
But too often, it feels like we're at the mercy of a system that doesn't work for us as well as it should.
No shit, Sherlock. We are at the mercy of a system that doesn't work for us as it should. I can't think what she means by that statement that is in any way positive. Apart from, yeah, we know we're screwing you over. Tough.
One with endless form filling and bureaucracy just to prove who you are.
You invented the endless form filling and bureaucracy. Not me. I didn't invent it. You keep bringing out the form filling and the endless bureaucracy. Ask anybody who's ever applied for universal credit. Apparently it's a fucking nightmare. 27 pages of the shit. And then it goes on and on and on and on. Any government department you go to, it's page after page after page after page. You invented the bureaucracy, not us. Why do we now have to suffer because you got it wrong in the first place? Makes no sense. Next.
Where you might need your passport to apply for a job.
I've had several jobs. A lot more than you might think. Not once have I been asked for my passport. Ever. Do you know why? Because I was born and bred here, so I don't need it. I don't need a passport to apply for a job because I'm British. I have never been asked for my passport to apply for a job. Granted, I presume if you work in the higher echelons of government or MI5 or something, they may want to see your passport. But I've never been asked for a passport. Anybody out there been asked for a passport when they go for it? not a government job, a normal job. You know, let's say you go and work at McDonald's. Do you need your passport to work at McDonald's? No, you don't. Do you need your passport to go and work on the local building site? No, you need a CICS card. Do you need a passport to go work in Tesco's? No. Bollocks.
Your national insurance number to pay tax.
You don't need your national insurance number to pay tax. They've got your national insurance number. They will tell you how much tax you have to pay. That's the one thing you do have to declare when you do get a job. They want your national insurance number. They don't ask for your passport number. They ask for the national insurance number because the passport number doesn't make the money. The national insurance number does. Debunked. Move on.
Your driving licence to buy a pint or a glass of wine, if you're lucky enough to be asked.
Right, so now under 25s will need digital ID to buy a pint in a pub. Granted, having spent most of your life in the licensed trade, having a form of ID which is consistent and relevant is probably a good idea because it makes life easier than asking people for passports. Passports, driving licences, or the citizen ID card, which incidentally, once we had a guy turn up with a citizen's ID card and the doorman went, hang on a minute, and when he pulled the front of it, there was an Argos Premier Points card behind it. That's how long ago this was. But most importantly with that clip, she attempted to bring comedy into her speech by doing the, if you're old enough to be asked for it, and then attempted the Eric Morecambe glasses wiggle. No, love, too far. That is sacred. Doing that requires you to be funny. You are not funny. That was not funny. That was terrible acting. That is one of the worst stage managed bits of speech writing I've ever seen. You should sack your speechwriter for that. Never mind sacking yourself. Sack your speechwriter for saying, I think you should put your glasses on the end of your nose and then go, makes my blood piss, that. No. Piss boil or blood boil. Can't make your blood piss. Must work on me analogies.
And most frustratingly of all, you might have to rummage around in a drawer looking for an old electricity bill just to open a bank account.
Again, you're going to need your digital ID for a bank account. Not an old electricity bill anymore. And nobody's rummaging around in a drawer for them. They've all got them on their fridge with big red reminders saying you owe us $4,000 for the last quarter because bills are so fucking expensive. But no, don't worry, your digital ID will sort that out. What else are you going to need your digital ID for, love?
Or join the library. Join the library.
Join the library! They're coming after the pensioners and people with kids. Those are the two sets of society that use libraries in my world. Nobody else. When was the last time you went in a library? Who goes in a library? But now you can't even go and get a book out without providing the digital ID that contains your entire world. Facial recognition, anybody? Boop. There's your Mills and Boone, Mrs. Green. Oh, thank you, dear. I'll be back next week for the next one. You won't without your digital ID, will you? Oh, I get so confused. Well, tough. This is Stalin Starmer's Britain. And this is the way it's going to be. What else?
Or enrol your children in school. Or enrol your children in school.
Oh, so now it's to enrol your children in school as well. So it's gone from being about stopping the boats to, and let's see if I can rattle these off the top of my head. Childcare, child benefit, enrolling in schools, getting a drink. So we've moved up to leaving school, getting a drink. You need your digital ID now for your entire childhood, right up until you leave school. Then you need it if you want a pint. Then you're going to need it to get your driving licence because it will supersede the driving licence. You're going to need it for your bank account. You're going to need it when you get a job and you've got to pay tax. You're going to need it to get a library book out. You're going to need it to buy or rent a house. You're going to need it to... that's 9 things that I can remember that aren't in any way related to stopping the boats. What are the chances? It's almost like they lied to us. So now there it is, all laid bare for everyone to see. The digital ID that started off to stop people illegally working for Deliveroo has turned into a complete control mechanism for our entire lives. As predicted by me 5 years ago with me tinfoil hat on. Oh, what? I was right over here in Smug Corner. Not particularly smug about it at all because it's a complete con. But at least it proves that what I've been banging on about for the last 3 weeks was absolutely spot on. And there it is, in black and white, no, in full Technicolor, with a poorly acting MP trying to do the Eric Morecambe thing alone. Ah, you bitch, how dare you? How dare you? Take the king of comedy. Next time she's in Parliament, she's probably going to have a brown paper bag and pretend that she's thrown an imaginary ball into it and flicking it. Or maybe she'll get Andre previewing and slap him round the face. My love, you are saying all the wrong words and not particularly in the right order. What a fine way to finish that. Future my arse.